Meta Platforms. This is a must-own stock for all investors out there. It's been a must-own stock basically since the company went public, and it remains a must-own stock today in 2024. Here's the deal, okay? Facebook started out as just one gold bar. It was an incredible business called Facebook, one of the most powerful, certainly, platforms that was ever built in human history, and it's done tremendous. And that was a gold bar. And then they bought Instagram, which was the next gold bar. It had a baby. It adopted a baby. Then you know what happened? It adopted another game-changing baby called WhatsApp with over 1 billion users. Instagram nowadays, over 1 billion users. WhatsApp nowadays, over 1 billion users. And absolutely, they own 3 of the most powerful advertising platforms in the entire world. Absolutely extraordinary. Then from WhatsApp, they built out Facebook Messenger. They built out Instagram DMs. So now we're talking about much of the world's communication goes through Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs. Incredible. They've now built Threads, which is an X competitor. They also are in the metaverse, right? They're the number 1 player in that market. They have Meta glasses, which are incredibly popular. I actually have a pair as well, made by Ray-Ban. They have their Meta Llama platform, which Llama could be what is, people look at AWS as today. Llama could become that over this next 10, 20 years. And then they also have all their AI capabilities built into this. So from one gold bar that started out as Facebook, they now have countless golden babies that are producing the company immense amounts of money, right? Now, the key thing you got to understand about Meta is the more people that use it means more businesses need to use it. More businesses use it, more ads to be run. More ads that are run, ad prices are going to go up and up and up. And that makes the company more and more money over time, which is absolutely incredible. Now, when we think about the greatest businesses ever created in the history of mankind, I would think Meta needs to be up there in that Mount Rushmore conversation. When you look at the gross margins of this company, when you look at the net margins of this company, they're absolutely historically amazing. It's one of the best business models you can ever imagine. When we're talking about you have billions upon billions of users using your products, you have immense amount of data, that then that data can be used to go ahead and sell advertisements. It is like, of the business models, it's definitely a holy grail business model out there. Now, we got to take it back to when this company went IPO, because you got to understand the history of this company as a public company and how misunderstood it was, how misunderstood it still is to this day, and how much real upside is ahead in this stock over the coming years. You got to understand, when this company went public back in 2012, went public at $38, and then very shortly after, the stock crashed 50+%, all the way down to $18 very shortly after. Now, the questions people were asking at that time: how are they going to make money? I don't get it. How is this company going to make money? Now we look back and we're like, what a silly thing. But this was, if you paid attention to what people were saying about Meta back in those days, everybody's like, how are they going to make money from this stuff? Okay, big deal. They have a bunch of people using their product. Like, it's a free product. What are they going to do? Charge for it someday? Like, how are they going to make money from this, right? People were saying it might be the next MySpace, because Facebook really helped eliminate MySpace. So people were like, well, maybe it's the next MySpace. And we heard that so many times over the past 10, 15 years. It never came true, right? It never was the next MySpace. Third thing is, they said, this has got a young college dropout as a CEO. I don't know about this. You think this company is going to become a giant in the world with this college dropout kid running the show here? I don't know, man. He's in his 20s. Like, what are we talking about here? That was said at that time. And then people were also worried. It's so silly to talk about these things nowadays, because we look back and it's just like, this is so silly. But people were very worried about Farmville spend when this company went public. So Farmville had been a very hot game, and people were spending a lot of money on this game called Farmville inside Facebook, and Facebook was making money off of that. But there was seen as like a big slowdown in the Farmville game, and so people were very concerned about that. They were also very concerned about share lockup coming, right? These are all things we look back now and we're just like, oh my gosh, like, can you believe people? But this is what happened with Meta stock, and that's why that stock crashed 50+% after it went IPO. One of the most historic, famous drops in the market in history, just to be quite frank. Now, the great news is buyers today right? Because it's easy to look at the stock and say, oh, it's been such a great stock the past 10 years. It's been such a great stock since after the IPO. It's been such a great stock the past year, the past 2 years. So easy to say, well, I missed the opportunity on this stock, right? The truth is, buyers today are not paying a high price for the stock. This stock's trading far too cheap, given its growth rates in revenue and margins, and the growth rates in net income. This is not a high price to pay for this stock. We're at a forward P of 25. Keep in mind, analysts have been continually wrong in regards to analysts, too low with their estimates. So there's a good probability Meta will come in and beat analyst expectations over this next year. So the forward P is actually probably a lot lower than what it says here. And so buyers are not paying a high price today. You're still paying a cheap price for Meta compared to what you'll be paying 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now in regards to the stock. Now here recently, if we go to 1000X and we look at the financials, it's been a very exciting acceleration story in regards to the stock. If we look at revenue last year, 15.7% up. This year, looking at 20% plus. Gross profit last year, 17% up. If we look at net income last year, 68% up. This year, we should be looking at, it's a question of where are we at in regards to Meta's net income this year? Are we pushing closer to $60 billion? That's the real question in regards to this one. Diluted EPS will be well over $20 likely this year. And then next year, we could be looking at $24, $25, maybe even $26 of EPS, with net income far eclipsing $60 billion next year. So Meta's financials are all headed in the right direction. And when you compound that with one of the greatest balance sheets in the entire world, you're compounding a company here with, hardly any debt. We're talking about a company that's cash loaded to the sky. What a stock in such a great position. So in terms of me, it's no surprise that this is a huge position for me. It's a position that's around $900,000 right now. I believe we're going to go to $1 million plus on this particular stock. And I have no ambition to sell any of these 1,700 shares anytime soon because there's nothing incentivizing me to sell those shares. The valuation's too low on the stock when you look at forward P and 2-year forward Ps and trailing 12-month Ps, right? If we look at the margin profile of this company gets better, the profitability profile is getting better, right? We got a company that's actually utilizing AI to help their business accelerate in a meaningful way. If you're an advertiser, it's the number one place you got to advertise. You talk to anybody that runs any business, small, mid, or large company. Where do you need to advertise? Facebook, Instagram. Then we worry about everything else. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, just starting to turn on the monetization, real opportunity there. Threads monetization, probably 2-3 years from now, that's going to come down the line, which is going to be huge. The Llama model in how valuable that's going to end up being to the AI ecosystem is going to end up producing Meta fortunes of money as well. Zuckerberg always understands how to build a gigantic business, and people look at it at first and they don't understand how they're going to make money from it. Like, people don't understand how they're going to make money from Llama. There's going to be a lot of ways Meta will make money from Llama over the long term. Is that going to be a game changer this year or next year? No, but they don't need it. They're making fortunes of money and more money than ever from Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. So when you think about the real AI opportunity, that's going to come down the line. Wait to see those numbers 5 years out, 10 years out, 15 years out from now. And then think about all the new products and services. Like, think about Threads, right? Threads just reached a new all-time high in terms of the amount of users on that platform. Imagine the other products this company is going to produce over this next 5-10 years that we don't even see today. And they're going to be the next gold bar babies. That's what makes a really special company special. And so Meta's a stock you have to own as an investor. You choose not to own it, you choose to make a big mistake. Hey, it's Jeremy. I hope you really enjoyed that clip here today. What you're looking at in front of you right there, that's 1000xstocks.com. That is my personal advanced software that I use to make my investment decisions when I go to invest in companies. As somebody that's been in the market 15 years, I got sick and tired of using these different services that folks have out there that are designed for traders in the market. People that are looking to get in and out of stocks. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to long-term invest. I need to be able to see all the different ratios and metrics that are very important for me as a long-term investor to judge if I'm getting a great deal on a stock or if I'm getting ripped off on a stock. I need to be able to compare different companies versus each other and be able to do that in a matter of seconds rather than it taking hours like it used to before I created this service. I want the ability to listen to conference calls, see SEC filings all in one service. That is what we've created with 1000xstocks.com. If you are looking to access this software, go down to the description area of this video. You can click the link down there and apply for access. If you don't want to do that and you want to search a website, go to 1000xstocks.com. Enjoy it. Number 2 of these 7 stocks that you got to own is Palantir Technologies, the real AI play. A lot of people look out there and they're like, where can I play AI, right? Everybody wants to play this. And here we are in a moment in time where every company, it seems, out there is talking about AI this and AI that. Why? Because that's been the hype and excitement for the last year and a half. And everybody wants to try to be an AI company now, right? Palantir has been working on AI and talking about this stuff far before anybody was really like hyped and excited on this in the last year or two, right? They were talking about AI long before that. And I used to describe this company way before the AI hype cycle as a company at the cross sections of data and artificial intelligence. And whether you're a government agency or whether you're a business, Palantir's products are going to help you make better decisions. Better decisions. It's going to help you see the future a lot better than if you didn't have it. And if you're a business, that could help you make a lot more money. It could help you save a lot more money, right? If you're a government, that could help you save a lot of money. That could potentially help save a lot of lives, right? And so these are very, very meaningful to the world. And it kind of Palantir almost reminds me a little bit. You guys ever seen the Tom Cruise movie Minority Report? In that movie, they're using some sort of like psychic technology or something like that. I saw that movie like a long time ago as a kid, right? And basically this technology, you could kind of like see crimes that were going to basically happen, but before they actually happen. So if somebody was going to go, I don't know, rob a bank, right? You could like see that before it was actually going to transpire. It's crazy. Palantir's technology is honestly a little bit like that. So Palantir's technology, let's say you use it on a factory floor, it could be able to tell you everything like, hey man, we need to order 10 more of these parts next week, and here's why we need to do it. Looking at the data, looking at the information we all have coming in, we need to order 10 more of these, right? It could say, hey, this tube over here, this is likely going to need repair within the next month, right? It could say, hey, the speed of this guy's moving too slow for the factory line right now, right? It's going to be able to give you all these different data points the more you have Palantir in your organization to tell you all these very important things that you wouldn't be able to know if you didn't have it, or it'd be much more difficult, right? And you can go through Palantir if you really want to go down the rabbit hole in regards to Palantir. There's countless companies where their executives will go on and talk about how AIP is helping them, how Foundry is helping them, so you can get a better understanding of how all Palantir's products actually work in the real world, and let the executives of these companies tell you, here's how Palantir changed the game for our business model, which in my opinion is one of the most valuable things you could ever find. So in regards to Palantir, there's a few different products you'll hear about. AIP is one of them. This is the buzz. This is the hype. This is the attention. This is excitement right now, right? It seems like every company out there wants AIP. They all are engaging with Palantir, AIP, right? Now, there's also a debate on AIP actually being a Trojan horse to sell Palantir's other products, which are Foundry, which if you're a mid or large business, Foundry is phenomenal for you, to sell Gotham, and to potentially sell Apollo, right? And so AIP is just this Trojan horse to ultimately upgrade folks to these higher tier products. There's a debate to be made there, but AIP is going to end up making a fortune for Palantir over the coming years, directly and indirectly. But right now, this is the attention grabber for Palantir overall, and this is giving the company more attention than it's ever had in its history by far and away, and it's not even close. Now, additionally, we're at this interesting moment now where we're finding out all these AI companies are actually nothing more than just a little facade. Picture it like a fake town. That's why I have this here, right? Where it like looks like, oh, there's a town here, but then you look behind it and there's actually nothing. There's nothing behind it. That's what a lot of these AI companies we're finding out now, and that's why you're seeing a lot of these other companies that are supposed to be AI plays, AI companies. We're seeing their revenue growth decelerate. We're not seeing their revenue growth grow. With Palantir, we're seeing their revenue accelerate. The amount of customers interested in Palantir's products grow immensely. That's when you start to figure out who's an actual, real AI play versus who's just got a little, facade up here, right? Now, this does not come as a surprise that I own a lot of Palantir shares. I got 5,555 shares in the public count, up 259% on those. That's another stock that I don't plan on selling this one anytime soon. I own Palantir and other portfolios as well. This is just a very special company. And with very special companies, you hold those babies because they're gold babies that are going to produce you more gold babies, okay? Very, very valuable. Hey, it's Jeremy. I hope you really enjoyed that clip here today. What you're looking at in front of you right there, that's 1000xstocks.com. That is my personal advanced software that I use to make my investment decisions when I go to invest in companies. As somebody that's been in the market 15 years, I got sick and tired of using these different services that folks have out there that are designed for traders in the market. People that are looking to get in and out of stocks. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to long-term invest. I need to be able to see all the different ratios and metrics that are very important for me as a long-term investor to judge if I'm getting a great deal on a stock or if I'm getting ripped off on a stock. I need to be able to compare different companies versus each other and be able to do that in a matter of seconds rather than it taking hours like it used to before I created this service. I want the ability to listen to conference calls, see SEC filings all in one service. That is what we've created with 1000xstocks.com. If you are looking to access this software, go down to the description area of this video. You can click the link down there and apply for access. If you don't want to do that and you want to search a website, go to 1000xstocks.com. Enjoy it. Dan Ives, let's go, baby.
You have a new note out.
Cupertino.
Start with this. I'm just looking at the estimates. These are the estimates. Revenue growth of 112%, EPS growth of 125%. Just astronomical. It's like I had you shaking your head, and you're one of the biggest fans of this company.
Okay, so let's have some fun. Okay, let's have some fun. Would you like to have some fun, or would you not? Be honest with me. Okay, you do. So let's have some fun here, okay? This is not going to happen, obviously, but let's just assume NVIDIA kept these growth rates up for the next few years. Okay, so let's say 112%, right? Oh, this is going to be fun. And, well, they had EPS there, but let's just say their net income also is up 125% each year for the next few years here. And let's say we value the stock somewhere between, I mean, the thing is, it would be valued somewhere between, if they could grow triple digits top line, bottom line, you'd be looking at somewhere between a 50 PE and 100 PE. At that sort of, if you've got those sorts of growth rates, right? Oh, this is going to be fun. Let's see. Oh my gosh. And so in 2028, that would put NVIDIA stock at somewhere between $2,400 and $4,800, which would probably put the market capitalization bigger than the entire U.S. economy by a ridiculous number, something like that. Obviously, completely unrealistic, but if that was to happen, that would be the most insane thing in the history of business. That's what I'll say about that.
Can this company meet these expectations? Can it even exceed them? Is just meeting them good enough for investors?
Well, medium's not good enough, but I believe this is going to be a drop the mic moment for the godfather of AI, Jensen NVIDIA, because all of our checks are showing this is accelerating. And I think the street, like you said, every quarter, prove it. This revolution is just starting, but it all starts with NVIDIA. In my opinion, it is the most important earnings, not just of the year, potentially in many years, because of what this represents in terms of tax.
True.
So
fair.
I've been asking a lot of people this.
Actually.
Is it the earnings that matter or the guidance? Because the expectations are lofty. Let's say they meet or beat when it comes to revenue and EPS, but the guidance isn't what people are expecting. What does that do to the stock? What do you think it does to the market?
It's all about the guidance. But all, I mean, we just got back from Asia. All of our checks are showing Street is still underestimating this acceleration. Because right now, the only game in town is Jensen. And really, if you look what NVIDIA is doing, especially from chips coming forward, this enterprise demand is just starting. And in my opinion, of course, Powell, Jackson Hole is so important.
Huge, obviously.
But the market, what it's going to do for the rest of the year, and I could argue even into 2025, it starts with this NVIDIA earnings. And I expect, get the popcorn ready. It's going to be a
You say this every quarter, Dan.
No, but this is going to be a showstopper showing where the revolution's going.
Okay.
And I think the skeptics continue to get proven wrong.
What about the questions? The air pocket between different iterations of their chips, some of their customers making their own chips, and the fact that the AI enthusiasm seems to be dying down. You're not concerned about any of that?
Yeah, so it's hit on them. For a delayed 2 to 3 months, I view that as sort of an asterisk. In other words, this is not moving the needle in terms of from a demand perspective. When you talk about AI in terms of some of the hype, look what we saw from the hyperscalers. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, what Nadella talked about, what Lisa Su and AMD, the Messi of AI, Palantir in terms of the use cases. It's showing that
the Messi of AI, Palantir. I love that.
the second, third, fourth derivatives are just starting to play out. So when I look at what the godfather of AI, Jensen and NVIDIA are doing, we're talking about transformation. I believe a year from now, this is a $4 trillion market cap along with Apple and Microsoft.
Bubba, you changing his last name? This Jensen NVIDIA is not Jensen Wong anymore? You just decided?
Look, this is...
You're making decisions. I want to get back to your note. According to your research, for every dollar spent on NVIDIA chips, it kind of flows through to the rest of the tech sector to $8 to $10.
Yeah, my opinion on NVIDIA as far as the stock price goes, before the end of this cycle starts coming down, in my opinion, I've always felt like it goes to likely 150 to 200. And then we'll call it a cycle. And then what will start happening is NVIDIA numbers will start to flatten out. A lot of people are going to be very discouraged by that. And then after that, if the economy was to actually get hit in any meaningful way, you would actually see a lot of a pullback on the AI chip spend, which could cause NVIDIA revenue to go down for 1 to 3 years, depending upon how long the economy got hit for. If it's just like a little blip, okay, maybe it's down for a year and then comes back. If it's something more substantial, you could actually see NVIDIA revenues go down for several years in a row, right? So we'll see how all that plays out, but I've always felt like 150, 200, somewhere in there is likely the top of the cycle, and then from there it's going to be tough sledding for a bit for NVIDIA, but, don't write in the obituary for NVIDIA forever. Just say it like that, right? We know we go through these cycles where it's straight up, and then it starts to flatten out, and then straight down, right? And then straight up, and then flattens out, and then straight down. Like, that's NVIDIA. It's been NVIDIA. And until they get a bigger revenue base from non-hardware, so more software related, it's going to continue to be that way. And I think this company wants to push more towards software and software revenues over this next decade, but it's going to take a while to get there. So for right now, it's still really just hardware revenues that it's really going to be dependent upon.
Mean for some of these other stocks?
That's the most important thing. Because remember, it's not just about NVIDIA. It's about the multiplier. It's about the revolution, the $1 trillion of CapEx. For every dollar spent on an NVIDIA chip, there's an 8 to 10 multiplier across the rest of tech. That's why it's so important in terms of what NVIDIA says for this bull market to continue.
So you're saying it's a broad tailwind. It's not just it's a rising tide that's going to lift all boats.
Because it's not just
even in software, because software seems to be under pressure, or at least it was when it comes to this AI craze, and it seems like a lot of the money that was going to software is going to chips.
But even next week, you'll hear from Benioff and Salesforce. What are they focused on? AI. Look at McDermott and ServiceNow. In other words, it's just starting now. The software wave is a second, third derivative. That's why I think we're sitting here a year from now, NASDAQ 20,000, and it continues because now the rest of this party, it is only 9 p.m. in the AI party.
That goes to
that
when?
We believe it goes to 4 a.m.
To 4? Not to sunrise, but it stops at
4 a.m. And look, will there be times music stops and there's glass in the floor? Yeah. But right now, what we hear next week, it shows this party, the music continues to play on.
All right, I know tech is really your wheelhouse, but you look at the broader market as well. We're going to show a chart. This is the Mag 7 and the S&P equal weight since the start of this quarter. The equal weight outperforming the Mag 7. When it comes to that Mag 7 trade, how important are these earnings? We had our data team run the numbers. Implied volatility post-earnings, 10% up or down. What do you think this report does to that mega cap tech trade, that AI trade, et cetera?
They're the torchbearers of this rally that continues. And I think it's just the start. Look what's happened with Apple in terms of the new iPhone launch. The AI story will be led.
So NVIDIA stops the broadening? Because that's what we're seeing right now with equal weight. It's the broadening of the market. People are putting their money in other places, especially cyclicals, ahead of a cut. So you're saying that this report could actually change some of those flows?
Oh, I think it does. And I think ultimately tech will lead the market higher from a large cap perspective. we look into year end, and I think Mag 7 actually outperforms. But look, but again, many have been skeptical. The bears in hibernation mode, they've been negative on big tech for the last few years. But
True.
when it comes down to numbers,
Last
when it
couple
comes
years,
down to this revolution, this is the 1995, almost 1996 moment, but not a 1999 bubble moment.
Interesting. Okay, interesting investors' thoughts. Yeah, I don't feel like it's 1999 moment either. You're just not seeing the sort of valuations, those sorts of things, to really call it a 1999 moment. But with that being said, is there a potential we get a blow off top in all these tech stocks over the next 6 months, assuming we don't go into some major recession the next 6 months that all of a sudden devastates the whole financial landscape? I mean, that's potential. You could have just kind of a blow off top in all the tech stocks. Like Nvidia, like I said, goes kind of that 150, 200 range, right? Which I think would kind of be like a topping signal if it did go there. If we saw Meta approach like a 700 number, right? 700, 750, somewhere around there. You saw Apple have a blow off top to maybe 275, 255, somewhere in there. You saw Microsoft hit by far and away new all-time highs. Yeah, we could set ourselves up for maybe a tough 2025, 2026 from the tech perspective. But at the same time, it's not like a 1999 moment where you got to expect these stocks are going to fall 50, 70%, right? That's very rare those stocks ever fall that far. I mean, we saw that in 2022. We saw that in the great financial crisis. And we also witnessed that in the tech bubble, really, like 3 times. And so there'll be a day in the future when you will see tech stocks, again, fall 50, 70%. But that's going to be a while. Now, could those stocks fall 15 to 30%, right? If they have a blow off top over this next few months. I think that's fair. You could see like a 15 to 30% drop if those babies just went on this upward run on rate cut optimism, simultaneously with the AI parties going on, revenues looking strong, net income's looking strong, companies are feeling good about 2025, those sorts of things. Yeah, you could see a blow off top in all the tech stocks, but I think that would just be pulling returns from likely the next couple of years. And I think that could set those stocks up for maybe a floundering for like a 1 to 2 year span there, right? Now, that 1 to 2 year span after that, it doesn't mean you have to get a crash in the market. You could get a market that performs decent, but it's some of the smaller caps doing well, some of the more mid caps, some of the stocks that aren't talked about as much, right? Maybe housing stays hot, right? Maybe housing gets even hotter than what we are kind of seeing right now, right? What if that happens? I don't know. Like, that's always a potential, and we have some sort of blow off top in the housing market. Like, it's potential, which is obviously what we saw after the tech bubble blew up. We saw a blow off top in housing, where new builds just went to stratospheric levels, and just the momentum in real estate investing. Everybody was doing real estate investing, so I mean that's always a potential. Like, you got to factor in all these different things, right?